Truman Syndrome refers to the delusion in which people start to believe their life is a meticulously planned out TV show. It originally spawned from the popular film The Truman Show, which premise is a man whose life is literally a television show. Truman Syndrome is something that's not uncommon to experience, especially after either watching the film or when many unnerving coincidences happen to any given person when they have strange interactions with other people. In the modern age of technology, there are more cameras than ever. Almost every private building is beefed up to the max with security, and you can only get so far traveling in public before you are in the wake of a security camera, and thus your every move is being watched. One of my most profound recent experiences with this that actually partly inspired me to make this video was an illegal thing I had been doing. I had been following other people into my local gym right behind them to enter it and meet up with my friends. This is because I didn't have a pass to enter the gym, obviously. This was just so I could see them without having to wait for them, and I could just walk in and see them at the end of their gym session, but anyone who's watching this video that goes to the gym would have likely just thought I was a massive moron. Gyms have some of the highest security measures of any business model in the world. They operate themselves as an exclusive place where only their paid members are allowed to enter, and they also promise privacy and comfort to their patrons. The idea of a random person following a member right behind them to gain access is simply ludicrous. This completely goes against their business model and is actually against the law entirely, mainly due to the strict members only guidelines I mentioned that the business operates by. Every time I entered the gym, I was of course caught on camera. One day I entered the gym and an employee was working there. Most of the times I entered before then, employees weren't there and it was just security running it. The said employee confronted my friends who I was talking to inside, and they claimed they had no connection to me whatsoever when the gym employee confronted them. Of course, she said if I am identified or seen again by the gym, I would become a police matter and likely get a fine or perhaps even a criminal record. This close call was a sobering reminder. Not really for just how tight security measures were on gyms. Yes, that did open up a small part of my 8 brain, thankfully. No, this was mainly a sobering reminder of how many cameras there are, how they are everywhere, how they catch anyone who goes against the status quo, anyone who breaks the rules.
Have all these rules and you think they'll save you.
George Orwell's 1984 has fascinated me since I was a little kid. As someone who has always been into filming things and cameras, the idea of people's every move, every eye twitch, being watched constantly every second of every day made me come to terms with just how free my world is and how lucky I was that that reality just didn't exist. However, as the 21st century has progressed, technology has evolved in a way that people could never have imagined. Our every move may not be watched every day, and our complete privacy may not be interfered with entirely, but our self-consciousness and unsurety we feel about being listened to or watched in certain public places, or when we use certain apps on our phones, has never been more real. Humans right now are in an alternate 1984.
Somewhere in the past, the timeline skewed into this tangent, creating an alternate 1985. Alternate to you, me, and Einstein, but reality for everyone else.
Terry Gilliam nailed it with his film Brazil in 1985. He demonstrated how materialistic things have dominated people and how humans feel little empathy for one another than ever before. The film makes the audience feel constantly trapped inside the sets it uses, and has that no escape feeling to it, as if the idea of your life being controlled by a totalitarian government system that doesn't allow people to escape it is merely inevitable. In all honesty, I haven't seen Brazil for about 6 years. Of course, it's the kind of film that if released these days would just be the embodiment of the "you're going to Brazil" meme. You're going to Brazil! The film is like one weird dream you have that just goes on and on. Its controlled world it has is deeply disturbing, yet is possibly somehow an accurate representation of where humanity is headed. Maybe. Another personal example of being watched is probably the most meta of any I can give. It was back when I was in high school. I was nearly at the end of my final year and I decided I was bored as hell with nobody in my year level doing actually anything to scare the establishment and go out with a bang. I had no idea what I was going to do yet to cause mischief and to scare the school, but I thought that posting this poster around the school would be a pretty fun start. You know, just to get people thinking, oh fuck. Well, it went as you would expect. I got caught doing it and I was asked to go to the head of year's office. I was shitting literal bricks as I knew my school had a zero tolerance for students going against the establishment and going out with a bang when they finished high school. So I entered the office and told the head of year that I had no actual plans yet. I just wanted to cause a little bit of a stir. One thing I was incredibly perplexed with was how I was even caught. I had done this in my free periods when everyone was in class and nobody's walking around the school except for me. As you can imagine, it turns out the teacher actually saw me live on the school's security cameras. He even swapped from camera to camera while I was putting up the posters everywhere to have a watch. Even just the concept of him doing this blew my mind at the time. The fact that in this day and age, kids couldn't even get away with anything at school without being watched on cameras was just insane. The head of the year level said it was all good and I wasn't even in trouble, but he also said, hey, you can't do that. I left the office not disappointed I was caught as being the big
Agent of Chaos.
but more so, that was a bad Joker impression, but more so amazed at the power of security cameras in modern high schools. I had gone from no cameras anywhere for my first year of primary school way back in 2005 to cameras patrolling my every move around the grounds in my final year in 2017. What would security cameras be like for my kids in 2048? Would an alarm go off in the classroom as soon as they started doodling in their notebook or playing games on their computer? Something I was able to do a lot. I mean, I love playing games in every single class. I was pretty much in. Anyway, cameras in classrooms would fucking suck is all I can think of while I'm writing the script and reading it out to you guys. Holy, I couldn't imagine my high school days with cameras watching me and catching me every time I was playing games. The main thing that came out of this encounter with the lens of my high school was me just feeling utter relief that school was over for me that year and I wouldn't have to live in a future with even more cameras that were watching me all the time. One thing I've learned from this world so far is that nobody likes being watched. People like their own space where they don't have to feel anxious or self-conscious, and them just doing their thing, whether it's just walking down the street or bending the law just a little bit, just a little bit, is gonna be spoiled by some security camera. I know I'm the kind of person who will likely take even more risks in my life, but I also know that anything I do could be filmed at any moment. And with more cameras set up in more public places, is it a bad thing that we're being watched? Well, yes and no. Of course, when a horrible crime is committed, we need cameras to help identify the perpetrators of that crime. And also, the more cameras there are in public places, then the more deterred people are from committing horrible acts through fear of being caught.
Be on the floor!
Kicking the ass, ain't it, man? Hey, look, we're on TV, smile.
I mean, the solution for a criminal is to just put a balaclava on or something that protects their identity, but even that only gets you so far from avoiding the long arm of the law. The flip side to this is that people are constantly being watched when they would rather their own space and freedoms. I can't imagine a lot of people want to feel like they're being controlled by the establishment in this world, which brings me back to what George Orwell's 1984 is all about. Big Brother controlling the world with his cameras and the free world becoming completely obsolete. So as technology advances and more artificially intelligent cameras and security go up in public areas, it continues to beg the question, are we moving ever closer to that 1984 reality? Well, I think no. Why? Well, all the examples I've given have been in public places where security cameras are almost guaranteed, and examples like 1984, Brazil, and The Truman Show are all just works of fiction. So for now, I guess we're all relatively okay. Nobody should worry about feeling too insecure that their every move and privacy is being watched, and I can almost personally guarantee that Truman Syndrome doesn't exist. So nobody needs to worry about their life being one big show. Except Barry Stevens, obviously, from The Barry Stevens Show. He has no idea, guys, his life is one big show, and the Truman Syndrome he experiences is 100% understandable, so I'd appreciate it, guys, that we all work together to never tell him his life is a show. I mean, we've been doing that so far, you know. So after all I've said, I must return to my original question. The title of this video. Are we being watched? Yes. Yes, we are. But by me. Hello to you watching this video eating your noodles on the toilet.
I'm not eating noodles.
I'm watching you. Right now. This
Where is that coming from?
is Big Sam. Jonathan to the diary room. Fuck, such a shit. This is Big Sam. Jonathan, you have been evicted. Please leave now. And also, leave your noodles in the diary room.
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight you're gonna break your one rule. I'm a man of my word.